Hi, I'm your host, Marsha, Florence with Just Ask. Today, our show is the Scleroderma Foundation. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Today, our show is the Scleroderma Foundation, and who we have with us the co-presidents, Sharon Norchow and Annie Villa. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Marsha.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Good, good. Now, you know what? This is brand new to us because I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the name right. Is it Scleroderma?
Scleroderma.
Okay. And Sharon, I want to start off with you. I know both of you ladies are co-president, and I've never had co-presidents of a foundation before. So by both of you being co-presidents, I want you to fill me in on what we need to know about scleroderma. So Sharon, can we start with you?
Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about scleroderma. What it is, it's a chronic autoimmune connective tissue disease. And the word scleroderma literally means hard skin. And what our bodies are doing, they're making an overproduction of collagen, which affects our blood vessels, anything that has tissue, and our organs, all of our major organs.
Okay. Now, in the event that a person has scleroderma, is there any particular signs or symptoms that they should be looking for? How does one know?
There can be many signs in the beginning, depending on the type of scleroderma that you have. I think Annie can touch on that.
Well, there's two types of scleroderma. It's the localized and the systemic. And like when you first notice the scleroderma, my symptoms were like the swelling of the hands, the fingertips, the coldness. There's a Raynaud's phenomenon, which is the poor circulation in our fingers. Mm-hmm. And I mean, anything from sticking your hand to the refrigerator, you pull them out, your fingers are black and blue. And pretty much 90% of the people who have scleroderma have Raynaud's phenomenon. And we have the joint pain, the poor circulation in the blood, like I said, the hands are swollen, your body is swollen, you're in chronic pain. It's just overall pain when you first start out. The disease it varies with every one of us. We are, like Sharon's is different than mine, but we may have a combination of scleroderma, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. It overlaps. They overlap each other.
Okay. Now, by you ladies both being the co-president, what does that mean in particular, being co-president?
That means we both take on the duties of president. Last year, Annie was president. I was vice president. This year, when we had our elections, we decided that, well, at least I decided, because I had been going through quite a few problems with my health, that I didn't think I could take on just one job alone. So we decided to take on the co-presidency. That way we could kind of share, in all the duties.
Okay.
We work together, and we work together very well. And I've known Sharon through scleroderma. That's how I have met Sharon. Okay. And when she can't do something one day, she's had some medical problems lately, I jumped in, and vice versa. We just work very well together.
Okay. Now, your roles as co-president for the foundation is to do what?
Basically, we work very closely with the executive director and our board of directors and our volunteers, who we thank for just coming around and helping us, because without our volunteers we wouldn't be able to sustain the foundation. Our executive director is wonderful. We're just doing so much right now, and we try to maintain that the easygoing process of trying to keep everything together and making sure that we get the word out. With the constantly with Sharon and I, we're always advocating scleroderma. Get the word out, public awareness, educate the public, and the medical research especially is very vital, because without the medical research, we cannot find a cure, which there is no cure for scleroderma.
Okay. What is the population that's actually affected by this condition?
It's approximately, in the United States, 300,000.
Okay.
But I really believe that there's probably more. A lot of people haven't been diagnosed, or they've been misdiagnosed, And so I think if we had, you know, an actual count, it would be higher than the 300,000.
Okay, now does this mainly affect women, men, children? Is there age criteria or something? Because I was reading a little bit of information.
It
on that.
mostly affects women. Mostly affects
90%.
women.
About 90% affects the women, which is between the ages of like the childbearing ages, they say 25 to 55. But mostly it affects the women between the ages 25 and 55. And we seem to, I think we seem to handle it better. The scleroderma seems to affect the women a little different than the men.
Okay.
But with men, you have to realize that they are usually the breadwinner. You know, they're out there working. And when you get scleroderma and it affects your hands and the way that you're feeling, it's not that easy for them to, you know, every day get up, go to work, do their job. And so I think they have a harder time handling it than what the women do.
Okay, so the population mainly is female down
It's
there.
mainly.
Wow.
Women.
Okay, but there are men who have been diagnosed with it.
Oh,
and-
yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Several.
okay. So they probably take it a little more harder than,
Right.
than
And there
normal.
are children
And
that get
children.
it also.
1 year old to 2 years old
Yeah.
to on up.
Okay, so it really doesn't have
It doesn't discriminate against
Okay.
age, religion, you know, ethnicity, men or women. It does not discriminate.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's mainly what we need to know too, because people always think that some conditions are dealt with by race, or some conditions are dealt with age, you know, or gender. So at this point, scleroderma has no
Does
selected
not
group.
discriminate.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It affects us all.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, ladies, we're going to go to a break, and we're going to come back, ladies and gentlemen, with some more helpful and supportive information about the Scleroderma Foundation. We'll be right back.
Do you know that stroke targets by color? Odds are, if you're African American, you're twice as likely to suffer a stroke as white Americans. Know where you stand, because beating the odds isn't about winning, it's about living. Join the power to end stroke at strokeassociation.org.
And welcome back to the second half of the show. For those of you who are just now joining us, we have the Scleroderma Foundation with us today. And I want to make a correction on Annie's name. Her name is Annie Valle and Sharon Norshell. So ladies, forgive me if I made a mistake on your names, but I was on such a roll here in learning about the scleroderma that I probably have, so I want to ask you to pardon me for messed up on your name. Okay.
problem.
Now, we were doing so good with this information. I know that there's somebody out there who probably has the same condition and has no knowledge of what to do or where to go, and probably is kind of going through this by themselves. So I wanted to know, is there any particular treatment for scleroderma?
Well, there is no treatment for scleroderma, but there are medications out there. There are things that you can do. There's like therapy. You can go to therapy, hand therapy. The medications are out there, but we can't discuss the medications on the TV. But we can live a supposedly a full life, but I was given 5 years to live. Well, I'm in my 20th year. So
Okay.
I believe that Sharon and I are very positive about the disease. I'm sure we were both in denial when we first started out. But with me, the denial, it's over, it's done, you know what it is, move on with your life, do the best that you can with it, and that's what we've done. So in my sense, it can be treatable. It depends on the type of scleroderma there is, this kind you have, and how you deal with it. So it is out there, but it all depends on the individual. I believe that, and support groups are also very important.
Now, I know you mentioned earlier that it may be overlapping with another condition, such as lupus or something.
Yes.
When a person goes to their physician, should they ask if they know to request a test to determine if it's lupus or if it's scleroderma or something like that?
Well, they do testing for that. When I was diagnosed, and it's going to be almost 32 years ago, the way they diagnosed it back then was they didn't do the blood testing like they did now, like they do now. My dermatologist, I was very fortunate. I don't know whether he had a patient that had the disease before he saw me. I know his father was a doctor, So he had some kind of inkling when I came in there and told him my symptoms, that he said, well, I'm going to send you for a biopsy off your hand. And when that comes back, we'll know which of the connective tissues you have, diseases you have, because there is lupus and there's a scleroderma and there's a few other that I can't think of the name right now. But they did send me to the doctor. They took a biopsy off my hand, and when it came back, he said, you have scleroderma. And of course I said, sclero what? You know, I'd never heard of it. But then he proceeded to tell me what it was. It was a progressive disease. There's no known cause, no known cure. And I was probably looking at maybe 3.5 to 5 years. And then I would succumb to the disease. And like you said, in the beginning, when you first hear that, it's kind of a shock. And so I think I went home and probably cried for 3 weeks straight. And finally, thank goodness for my husband, he sat me down and he said, you know, this doctor may be right, but he may be wrong. He says, I have enough confidence in you, he says, that if you take a stand and you become very positive towards this disease, that you will beat it. And through him and my family and friends, I'm still here 32 years later.
Okay.
I believe the same thing. The family is very important. Their support. My husband's been wonderful since day one, because I felt like my legs were cut off. I was very athletic. I was into everything. And all of a sudden, you know, I can't do all that stuff anymore, and that just tore me apart. I was like Sharon. When the doctor told me, I didn't know what it was, so I drove around like for 2-3 hours, and my husband was calling everybody, trying to find out where was Annie. Well, he had given me the diagnosis. I was scared. We were very scared in the beginning, but my husband has been there, and my husband shows a tough love. See, it's very painful for me even to put my socks on at that time, because I was in excruciating pain, because my joints were all swollen. And he would do that, like, you got to try. If he hadn't pushed me, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd probably be in a wheelchair maybe. But the tough love worked for me. The family might have always agreed with it, but I mean, it was a good tough love though. And he's there, and he's been there, and he's given up a lot for me.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful to know, and I'm sure our viewing and listening audience will be grateful to hear that, because a lot of times some of the conditions seem like they're so overwhelming that you can't help but cry, and you can't help feel like you're the only person. And you know, you ladies today are brightening the horizons for others, so that they won't feel like, you know, that they're the only person in the world with this, and God, why me? You know, a lot of people always think it's just them, and it's not just them. And you're right, tough love is one of the most supportive ways to get through anything.
Excuse me, but touching on what you had just said about God, why me? I used to say that quite a bit until I ran across a priest one day, and he said to me, he says, why not you? He said, you have been chosen to have this disease for a reason. He says, God knows what the reason is. He says, you just have to figure it out.
Oh yeah. And I think that we're all here for a reason, you know, and whether it's a pioneering of a situation to help others understand, or if it's, you know, any type of worthy cause, when something happens to you, it's for you. It's not for someone else. My mother always told me, she said, don't just happen to the other fella, it can happen to you too.
Definitely.
You know, so whatever it is, it could happen to you. And I always took note to that. So, and basically that's what Just Ask is built on. What do we need to know? What do we need to share with others about what's going on in the health profession? And wanted to ask you, now you said a dermatologist determined your condition more or less?
Yes.
Okay, was the same thing?
I had gone to a rheumatologist, but he sent me to a dermatologist because of the skin involvement. That's where most of my involvement was in the beginning. And by taking the biopsy and doing whatever diagnostic tests they need to do, it came back as scleroderma.
Okay. And what type of
with me, it was a rheumatologist. I was in the doctor, like, it was softball season. And I noticed that I was slowing down. I wasn't running as fast. I was a pretty good athlete. And my husband noticed it, so he says, and then I started getting the pains in my wrist. And so they sent me to the carpal tunnel test, and of course it came back that I had carpal tunnel. Well, the pain didn't go away, it came back. So I went again, carpal tunnel disappeared, and I told my husband, carpal tunnel does not disappear. You know, something happens here. So finally my doctor says, I don't know what to do. I'm going to send you to a rheumatologist. And it took him between, I say about 6 months or maybe 9 months, I was diagnosed. I was one of the lucky ones. I was diagnosed right away. I had a very good doctor, and she's wonderful. And because of her, I've been able, I was going to have a finger amputated. She helped me save that finger.
Okay.
And it was with me, that's what it was. It was just, I was one of the very lucky ones. Very
Okay.
lucky ones.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. So, and like I said, today we're glad to have you here, because really just sitting here with you ladies is like in my living room, and I'm learning something that I knew a little about myself. And to be honest with you, we had captured an article in the paper 2 years ago. It was 205 article, and we saved the article, and I kept saying, we need to see these people because we don't know who they are and we don't know anything about this condition. So, I'm really grateful that you came this morning to share this information with us, and we hope to be able to be of some support to you as well. Now, if someone wanted to find out how to get in touch with the foundation itself, what number would they call? Do you have an 800 number or anything?
They can call our 800 number at 800-716-6554. And our other number
Or
is...
they can call our office, which is located in Farmington Hills, and that number is 248-865-7259.
Okay. So you guys are a nonprofit, I take it?
Nonprofit
Yes.
organization.
Okay, and how are
we
you
have
funded?
a website also.
Oh, she got to get that. What's the website?
www.scleroderma.org/chapter.michigan.
Okay.
So-
We're going to need that again.
Okay.
Okay. How are you funded?
Through,
Well, actually, this year we have a national organization, National Foundation. They are in Danvers, Massachusetts, and the National Institute of NIAMS. Let's put NIAMS. We actually get monies from them to help fund the foundations. We have 21 chapters in the country. In the United States, we have 11 support groups.
Okay.
And basically, Sharon and she has a support
We run
group,
a
and I also
support
have a support group, which I think are very instrumental of anyone who has scleroderma or any other type of disease, because they're very supportive. They're very supportive. And we're funded through having fundraisers. We have fundraisers, sponsorships, who just generously give to our foundation to help sponsor our walks, our runs, our third-party fundraisers. That's how we're funded.
Okay, well, when we come back, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of these upcoming events that you all have. Okay? We'll be right back with some more information.
If a natural disaster happened and we were outside the home, we would probably all meet, I'll say, around the grocery store,
We would all meet at a bus stop. That is our meeting place.
Well, we would probably just meet out in front of the house.
We'd probably meet at our neighbor's house.
If you have no plan, then you can just plan what to do as it happens.
And welcome back to the last half of our show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have learned a lot today about the Scleroderma Foundation, and I hope if you have questions that you will see the number at the bottom of the screen, and we're going to have these nice ladies give that number and web address out again. So be prepared to write that down. If you can't, make sure you call us at 248-988-0250 at the Just Ask hotline, or look at our website at justasktalkshow.org and drop us a line, and we will definitely forward your request to the Scleroderma Foundation or any services or agency that you're interested in seeing. Now, we have these nice brochures here. So the first one is the Scleroderma Foundation, and this is just general information?
Basically, a general overview of what scleroderma is.
Okay. So a person can actually call you and you'll send this
Yeah.
type of information out?
we'll send them out. There's quite a few pamphlets with a lot of information, and we would send them out, all of them.
Okay, so then now I did this in the fanfare because there's so many beautiful ones, so I want to make sure that we get this. And actually now, even though I did this in the fanfare, what I see is that if you call you guys and you get the general information one, do you actually send out the one that says coping with scleroderma, what causes
We
scleroderma?
probably would send those out. There's one on there that's called Sjogren's syndrome. Now that Sjogren's syndrome is like the dryness of the eyes, the dryness of the mouth. It's one of the symptoms of scleroderma.
Okay.
Some of the patients get it, some don't. There's one for the localized scleroderma, if you have the localized that type of scleroderma. There's also the pulmonary arterial hypertension, and that is one symptom that affects the lungs.
Okay.
So if you in particular, let's say you call and say, I think I have that, there'll be someone there to talk with you in more detail about your symptoms and try to refer you to the right person.
Okay, okay,
Or
okay,
you could
okay.
just ask for, could you send me out, one of each pamphlet,
and
and
they'll do
they'd
that.
be more than
They'll do
glad
that.
to do
Wonderful,
that.
because it's an overlapping of the conditions. You
Yes.
never know which
Right.
one you have, so you need to have some literature on each one. Okay, okay. And this nice book by Dr. Maureen Mays. Now, have you guys read this book? And I'm assuming that you did,
Yes.
because did she have scleroderma herself or a family member?
No.
Not that I know of. She's just
Okay.
she's, Dr. Mace used to live here. Actually, her family still lives here, but she has gone to Houston, and she's doing strictly research on scleroderma. And they're doing quite wonderful things down there, as well as here at the U of M, U of M here in Michigan. We're doing wonderful things with scleroderma.
Okay, so it's nice to know that there's books
Yes,
on the
it's very
condition.
informative, and actually it's a very good book, and I know there's several other books out there. This one I have found that has helped me and my family out, because it deals with the patient, it also deals with the caregivers.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, there is a walkathon in your behalf coming up, and that walkathon is when?
The walk is going to be on June 10th, and it's going to be held in downtown Birmingham at Shane Park.
Okay.
And I am the walk chairperson, so I'm hoping that everyone will come and join us. It's a real fun day. We have silent auctions, live auctions, a kids zone. We have a fabulous food tent where Outback Steakhouse has donated all of the food. We have a dunk tank, a store where you can purchase all different types of scleroderma items. And also we have a special guest that will be coming, and that will be Barry Sanders from the running back star from the Detroit Lions. He is involved very much with the Scleroderma Foundation because his sister Nancy had scleroderma, and she passed away in 1991 from it. So he's become very involved and very dedicated to helping get the word out about scleroderma.
Okay, okay. Well, keep us informed. Okay.
We will.
All right. Now, you have a gala affair in November of this year. So, what is this gala affair about?
The gala affair is going to be held in
November
November 3rd, Royal Palm Hotel.
Okay.
Actually, last year was our first one. This is our second annual one.
Okay.
And we have honorees. If you notice some of our honorees on there, I'm sitting right next to one. Sharon is being honored for an award.
Okay.
And
nice.
we have wonderful dinner, dancing, awards are handed out. We just have a wonderful time. It's a very, elaborate, fancy affair.
Okay, okay. So that's in November.
That's November.
The walkathon is in June.
June 10th.
June 10th. Okay. Now, if anyone wants to volunteer, is there a number they can reach?
Yes, they can call us again at the office, and that number is 248-865-7259. And just call and say that you would like to volunteer to help us out at the walk, and we'd appreciate it so much.
Okay, and the 800 number?
The 800-716-6554.
Okay.
And our website, www.scleroderma.org/chapter.michigan.
Okay, okay. So all that information is very helpful, because we know that there's someone who wants to donate their time, may want to be involved in the charitable portion or something like that. So I want to thank you both for the phone numbers and the web address. Okay,
You're
and
welcome.
we'll have it posted up for you. Now, I know that also there's, at the end of this segment, we usually have like a personal question we want to ask you. What is your message mainly that you want to get out today to our public about scleroderma?
Well, I think our message is to, if you recognize any of the symptoms that you think, like we may have discussed today, early detection is very, very important, because some patients can go for 2 or 3 years before they're diagnosed, and at that time you're giving the disease time to go like haywire, and we don't want to do that. You want to catch it early. So if you think you're having this ache, I don't want everybody running to the doctor and say, I think I have scleroderma, because people tend to do that. Just early detection, check it out. If it's not normal for you, then something's going on. Get it checked out, because the earlier detection is your best policy.
Okay, okay, okay. Because I wanted to say also that our physicians, they're not necessarily always educated in the form of how to deliver the message of when you have a symptom of some sort. And I heard both of you ladies say that you had a time frame to live. You had 5 years and you had 3 years.
3.5.
And I didn't understand, did your physicians say that to you? Or?
Yes, they came. Mine was very, very forward. He just told me it was a progressive disease and that more or less I had 3.5 years to live. And if I can get a message across to doctors or anyone in the medical field, I would say, please don't come out with that type of diagnosis. I mean, it very well may be true, but as soon as you say that, it's like taking away all the hope that we have. And right now, hope is all that we have to hang on to. I mean, we're hoping every day that they find the cause and the cure. And once you take that away from us, it's like we're defeated. And with any disease, you have to fight, and you have to fight as hard as you can to beat it.
So our medical physicians and staff should find a more, I'll say, soothing way to deliver a message that may not be fatal, but they have struck fear in a person that it makes them seem like tomorrow is my last day.
Right.
Okay.
See, and I've taken the position that although I may have this disease, as it is incurable, and hopefully we'll find a cure in my lifetime, in our lifetime, but I choose to take control of my disease instead of letting my disease take control of me, and that's how I deal with it.
Okay, okay. Well, I tell you what, the Scleroderma Foundation couldn't have for a person any wonderful than yourselves to deliver the message, and especially at first hand knowing about the condition. So hopefully we have been to some help to you all in getting the word out, and you will get phone calls, okay, as well as emails. Because really, I appreciate you both coming, and I've learned a lot today, and so has our production crew. We just really have taken in a lot of knowledge today, as we always do. So I want to thank you again. Please come back and join us. Keep us posted of your upcoming events.
We sure will.
Thank you for having us.
Let's give out that phone number one more time.
248-865-7259.
Okay.
And the 800 number is 800-716-6554.
And we know you got that website.
www.scleroderma.org/, so you made me forget now, /chapter.Michigan.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you couldn't learn any more about scleroderma today than the ladies firsthand themselves. Please give them a call if you'd like to volunteer your time or have some questions about the condition itself. We here at Just Ask hopefully can be of some support to agencies that will have services that they don't think everybody knows about. If you have a question for us, feel free to give us a call at 248-988-0250 or drop us a line at our website, justasktalkshow.org. And who am I? I'm your host, Marsha Florence, and what do I always say? If you know someone with a disability or if you just have a general question, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. Thank you.